Hello and welcome to the WB Mason Coaches Report with head men's basketball coach Joe Mihalich. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, to recap the week that was and look ahead, lots of games last week, actually three games, a loss at Towson and then loss at home narrow loss to Drexel, and then the trip down to Charleston where we dropped a contest to the Cougars. Can you recap the week? I know it's a disappointing week, but can you talk about what you saw?
Well, geez, I don't know where to begin. We want to begin with the Towson game, the Drexel game. What do you want to do?
Let's go with Towson first.
Let's go Towson. Let's go Towson. Okay. All right. Well, I thought that we got a little. I don't know. We have a tendency. You know me. I'm going to be real candid here, right? We have a tendency to play a little bit back on our heels. Some people would use the word scared, timid, hesitant. And I thought we were that way against Towson, and by the time we realized we didn't have to be hesitant, we dug ourselves a little bit of a hole. So, it's a learning process for a lot of our guys, and that game, it's got to make us better. It was, the battle cry right now, jumping ahead here, the battle cry right now is we're halfway done. 16 games, we're halfway done our seasons, 8 games behind us. Let's see what we can do with these second 8 games.
In that Towson game, did you feel that, you said back on your heels a little bit, did you feel that the Hofstra team going into that game was like, we're playing the #1 team in the conference preseason? Did that play a role at all, do you think, in the heads? Or is it just there was a being on the road, fear factor type of situation?
I think you're making a good point. I think there are some guys on the team that felt like, can we really beat these guys? And so, we got to get that out of our system. And it's starting to get out of our system. I think we realize now, but now that the game's over, we realize now that, we can lose to anybody, but we can beat anybody too.
That Towson game, how much of a role did the foul trouble of Zeke Upshaw cause in that game for you?
Well, you take him off the floor. This is a team that struggles to score anyway. We play without Jordan Allen again, so you take Zeke Upshaw off the floor, and it's just a grind. It's a grind to try to manufacture some points without him on the floor.
During the loss of Jordan Allen during his injury and that Towson game, though, it seems as though Dion is really picking up his game offensively lately, shooting a lot better from the Charleston game aside. Yeah. Prior to that, he was really shooting the ball effectively from the outside and doing a good job distributing the ball too. Can you talk about his play over the last couple of years?
Yeah, he's been good. Just in general now, it's funny, I heard a TV announcer say last night about, I think he was talking about Notre Dame with their injuries and so forth. So we lose Dion for a few games, we lose Jordan for a few games. You have to, he used the expression, reinvent your team. And we've had to do that again. It's not an excuse, it's a fact. Without Dion for a while there, we had to play a different way. We had to play different players. He comes back, we started to get it going again, and then Jordan breaks his nose, and he's out for a while. And it's the same thing: reinvent your team, play with different guys. So it's been a challenge, But getting Jordan back and Dion now is back in the swing of things. I think that's why he's playing better. Jordan's back now. Let's hope he can get back to doing what he was doing before. He was playing really well when he got hurt.
The next game was the Drexel game, narrow 77-74 loss to the Dragons. Team played exceptionally hard, got a lot of good efforts. First off, breaking out of his recent slump was Jamal Robinson, first career double-double, 15 points, 10 rebounds. Just talk about the game in general and Jamal's play.
Well, gettable game. Disappointing loss. The good news is that we took a really good team like Drexel right down to the wire and we didn't get a good shot off at the end, but we had a shot at the end to tie it up. And it was a gettable game, and we proved that we can play with them as well. And again, another team that's supposed to be really, really good in this conference, and they are. They're the opposite of us, very experienced. Their backcourt has 10 years experience between them.
And they needed a superstar game from one of their players to beat Hofstra by 3.
Their star played like a star. Massenat was tremendous. What do you have, 32 points and 9 assists and 0 turnovers. But, we proved in that game, that was one of the games that I referred to what I said a little earlier. We proved that we could play with anybody.
Over the weekend, first trip ever down to Charleston, South Carolina, played the Cougars. Just couldn't get on track offensively. Was there more to it than that, or just I know you're not one to make excuses. Did just the weeks and weeks of travel finally catch up, or just?
Well, it was a grind. It was the end of a tough stretch. We had that stretch, and sure enough, it was without Jordan. But we had 4 games in 8 days, or 4 games in 9 days, and that's not easy. And a lot of them were on the road. I don't know. We shoot 4 for 23 from the 3-point line. We missed 11 layups. Yeah, I said that right, 11 layups. We missed 11 layups, and we shoot 13 for 27 from the foul line. Well, you're not going to beat anybody if you do that. And after studying the tape, there were layups. Hey, give us half of all those. And it's still not a really good percentage, but give us half of those misses, and we win the game.
This week, you got Northeastern on the road tomorrow, and then home game finally back home again against UNC Wilmington. How important is this week?
This week it gives us an opportunity to get back into the mix. I think we're 3-5. I think Northeastern's 4-5. So, winning, if we can pull this off, it puts us ahead of them, puts them a little bit behind us. And although it's going to go down to where I think at the end there's going to be, 1 or 2 at the top, and it's looking like one team might struggle at the bottom. And then after that, it's just throw a blanket over everybody else. I mean, from 3 to what would that be? 3 to 8. 3 to 8 is just going to be, could be anybody. But this week's a big week. It gives us a chance to get back in the mix. Gives us a chance to get that hope and belief back.
A couple individual storylines. Jamal Robinson, as we mentioned before. Then at Charleston, 10 points, 10 rebounds, second consecutive double-double, first 2 of his career, CA Rookie of the Week this week. The story just keeps getting better and better with him. And as you always say, he's part of the solution of everything, isn't he?
He really is. He's a high-character guy. He did get into a little bit of a funk. I mean, when you're a freshman, we just planned practice for today. This is our 80th practice. I mean, when you're in high school, you don't have 80 practices. And they're not as long, and they're not as against players that are 3 years older than you and playing college basketball. So you're going to have that little bit of a, I don't want to call it a slump, but you're going to, and people say hit the wall. But he had that 3 or 4 game stretch there where I think he was just, was just kind of worn out. He's got some life now. He's got some spirit back, and again, just a fantastic guy.
It's almost like he hit a wall and then got a second wind at this point.
Got through the wall.
Yeah.
His wall's behind him now.
That's what you hope as a coach, right?
Absolutely.
Second, program's got a lot of media attention lately, SI.com, ESPN.com, Sporting News. In your mind as a coach, I know as your student athlete, how good of a story is the Zeke Upshaw story this year?
It is. There's some talk about transfers, and is it good, is it bad, and this graduate. He's living proof what a great story it is, what a great chance it is. I mean, here's a terrific guy, fantastic guy who, had graduated. He did what he was supposed to do. And the idea when you go to college is to graduate. He did. He went to Illinois State. He graduated. He played 3 of his 4 years. They weren't. I think they may be second guessing it now, but at the time they weren't hesitant to give him his release and let him graduate and go somewhere else. And he does it and has the year of his life. Hopefully he's got even more. Hopefully the story gets even better. But it is as good a story as there is in college basketball. And the notoriety is a lot because of you. I mean, you've got us out there, and you deserve a lot of credit for that. So we appreciate that.
This Saturday, UNC Wilmington at home at the Mac Sports Complex, Military Appreciation Day. One of the first games with the students back. Looking to get back to the Mac and get some home attention and some fans there, aren't you?
Well, it's a 7 o'clock game. It's those 4 o'clock games. They're too early for the students. They're still sleeping on Saturdays for them to. No, I'm just kidding. But it'd be great to have them back, and it's for a great cause. I mean, if you can't appreciate what our U.S. the Armed Forces do for us, then it's what a great country this is. So we owe so much to them just to recognize them for one day. It's the very least we can do.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck on Wednesday and Saturday this week.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today for the WB Mason Coach Report with head men's basketball coach Joe Mihalich.